Imagine that you are dying, your skull is fractured, broken ribs, the whole body is covered with knife wounds. You're bleeding out in a cheap hotel room, tied to a bed with an electric cord. But you're conscious. You can talk now. A policeman is standing nearby. He asks for your name. He asks who did it. He can catch those who have turned you into a piece of meat. All you have to do is say one word, and you are silent. You look a policeman in the eye and say, "No one should know," and then you turn to the wall and die, taking your secret to the grave. This is not fiction. It happened in January 1935 at the President Hotel in Kansas City. And for 90 years, no one has ever found out who this man was. But the scariest thing in this story is not the murder. The scariest thing is what happened before him. Kansas City, January 4th, 1935. America is drowning in the Great Depression. Millions of unemployed, red pews. Whole families live in cardboard boxes. But the President Hotel is a different world. 12 floors of marble and gilding in the heart of the city. Crystal chandeliers, the doormen are in livery. A place where those who still have money stay, or those who want to look like they have them. Around noon, a young man approaches the reception desk. He looked to be in his mid-20s, maybe a little younger, skinny, dark hair, neatly combed back, a pleasant face. Nothing remarkable. He asks for a number, not a suite, not a penthouse, a regular single room. The administrator asks the standard question, "In what name?" The man answers without hesitation, "Roland T. Owen, Los Angeles, California." He is given a key to room 1046, 10th floor, and that's where the oddities begin. Small, almost invisible, the kind that you pay attention to only later when it's too late. The first oddity, the guest has no luggage. Nothing at all. No suitcase, no valise, not even a briefcase. Just himself and his clothes, a gray coat, a dark suit, a hat. Does a person come to the city for a few days and take nothing with him? The administrator notices this but remains silent. In those days, it was not customary to ask unnecessary questions, especially in hotels where people often stayed who did not want to attract attention. Roland Owen goes up to the 10th floor. The door of room 1046 closes behind him. And for the next 8 days, this number will be the epicenter of something wrong. The next morning, maid Mary Sapitick begins her routine rounds, knocking on the door, cleaning, changing towels, a routine that repeats hundreds of times. She knocks on the door of room 1046. A voice from inside male, young, says, "Come in." Mary opens the door and stops on the threshold. The room is dark. Not just semi-darkness, but absolute, dense darkness. The heavy curtains are drawn so tightly that not a single ray of light penetrates. But at the same time, a chandelier is lit under the ceiling. Bright electric light floods the room. Darkness and light at the same time. It was as if someone was trying to create a special atmosphere, or hide from something outside while remaining visible inside. A young man is sitting on the bed, dressed, not in his pajamas, but in the same suit he checked into yesterday. He's sitting on the edge of the bed with his hands folded in his lap, and looks at the wall. He's just watching, without moving, like a mannequin. Mary asks if he needs cleaning. He doesn't immediately respond. It takes a few seconds long, awkward seconds, before he turns his head. "I'm waiting for a call," he says. "Doan has to call." Doan. Remember this name. We'll get back to him. And when we return, everything will become much scarier. Mary suggests opening the curtains, letting in some sun. "No," Owen says quickly. "Too fast. Leave them closed. Doan will be here soon. He doesn't like the light." Mary feels uncomfortable. Something's wrong with this guest. She can't figure out what it is, but her instincts are screaming, "Go away." She finishes cleaning quickly and goes out. On the same day, around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Mary returns with clean towels, knocks on the door. Silence. She knocks again. Nothing. He checks the handle and the door is unlocked. It's strange. Most of the guests lock their rooms even when they leave for a minute. Mary looks inside. The room is empty. The curtains are still drawn. The light is still on, and there's a note on the mirror. In pencil, in large letters, "Don't I went out for a smoke. Come back soon." Wait a minute. Mary leaves the towels and leaves. In the evening, she passes by room 1046 again. The door is ajar. Voices are coming from inside, muffled and indistinct. She looks in. Owen is sitting on the bed, in the same position, in the same suit. And in the corner of the room, by the window, there is another man. Man, tall, broad-shouldered. He's standing with his back to the door, and Mary can't see his face. Just a silhouette against the background of the drawn curtains. He's not moving. He doesn't talk. It's just standing there. "Do you need anything?" asks Mary, turning to Owen. Owen shakes his head. He doesn't look at the maid. He looks at the man at the window. And in his eyes, Mary would swear to that later, during the interrogation, there was fear in his eyes. The man at the window slowly turns his head. Mary can't see his features, it's too dark. Just a glint of eyes in the half-light. A cold, inhuman glare. She leaves the room faster than she intended. She will tell the investigators later. "I've been working as a maid for 17 years. I've seen all kinds of things. Drunk, violent ones, strange ones. But never have I been as scared as I was at that moment. I don't know why. It's just that the man at the window, there was something wrong with him. Something that shouldn't exist. What I will tell you next is based on the testimony of 6 witnesses, 3 maids, 2 telephone operators, and 1 bellhop. Their stories match in detail. And these details don't fit into any logic. From the 5th to the 11th of January, for a whole week, Roland Owen lives in room 1046. The same ritual is repeated every day. Morning. Mary finds him sitting on the bed, dressed. The curtains are drawn, the lights are on. He says he's waiting for Dawn. Day. The room is empty. There's a note on the mirror. It's always the same. Dawn, wait. Evening. There are 2 people in the room. Owen and the tall man at the window. Night. Silence. No one comes in or out. But in the morning, Mary finds footprints, wet prints on the floor, as if someone had been standing by the bed for hours, looking at the sleeper. Owen hardly eats anything. He had never ordered room service all week. I didn't go down to the restaurant. The bellboy saw him one day nibbling on a dry cracker while sitting on the stairs. He doesn't use his phone, does not receive emails, does not leave the hotel for more than an hour. He's just waiting. On January 11th, the day before the tragedy, Gladys Hill, the hotel's telephone operator, received a strange call, a woman's voice. He was young, but with a strange intonation, as if the speaker were reading from a piece of paper. "Put me through to number 1046 with Roland Owen." Gladys switches the line. The receiver is picked up after the first ring, but the voice that answers is not Owen. Another voice, low, rude. "He's not here right now," and immediately short beeps. "Stop. Let's stop here." Why is there another person in Owen's room? The room is a single room, registered in the same name. No one asked for additional keys. But there's someone there, someone who answers the phone, someone who comes and goes unnoticed. How? The hotel staff did not see anyone else enter the room. Not once. The bellhop is on duty on the floor all the time. It is impossible to pass by unnoticed. But there is a person in the room. 2 hours later, the woman calls again. This time it's Owen himself who answers. Gladys hears the beginning of the conversation, a few seconds before the line switches. double quotes, no, no. I don't want to Ness. I'll do whatever you say. Then the connection is disconnected. Gladys will pay attention to this only later, when it's too late. What happened on January 12, 1935, is still considered one of the strangest unsolved murders in American history. Not because of the brutality, there have been worse murders. Not because of the mystery, there were deeper mysteries. It's because it doesn't make sense. Around 7 in the morning, Maid Mary Sapitic sees Roland Owen alive for the last time. He leaves the room. For the first time in a week, he looks different. Not scared, but determined. As if he understood something, or he decided on something. He nods to Mary and goes to the stairs. He's wearing the same suit, the same hat. But there's a bottle in my hand. Mary couldn't see the label. Then she will say that the bottle was dark glass, like a medicine bottle. Around noon, the new maid, Judy Morgan, who is filling in for Mary, knocks on the door of room 1046. Silence. She knocks again. Nothing. Judy puts the key in the lock and opens the door. The first thing she feels is the smell. The metallic, sweet smell of blood. A lot of blood. Then her eyes adjust to the darkness. There's a man lying on the bed. Link. He was almost naked except for his underwear. His hands are held behind his back and tied to the headboard with an electric cord from a desk lamp. His face is almost gone. It's broken, turned into a bloody mess. The eyes are not visible under the blood and tumors. His chest and stomach are covered with wounds. They were deep and jagged, as if someone had stuck a knife in over and over again, but had not tried to kill quickly. The sheet under the body is soaked in blood. Blood on the walls, blood on the floor. Judy screams and runs for help. But here's what's weird. When the police arrive 12 minutes later, the man on the bed is still alive. He's conscious. He looks at the police officers with a broken face and is silent. He is being taken to the city hospital. The doctors are amazed. People don't survive with such injuries. Fracture of the base of the skull, 11 stab wounds, 3 broken ribs, massive blood loss, but he lives. He's conscious. He can talk. Detective John O'Connor enters the room with a notebook. What's your name? Silence. Who did this? Silence. Look, we can help. We'll find out who did this to you. But you have to help us. Tell me the name. Any name. Say something. The wounded man slowly turns his head. Where the eyes should be, there are only slits between the swollen eyelids. He opens his split lips, and he says 5 words. No one can know that. Then he turns to the wall. On January 13th, at 6:53 a.m., he dies. Without giving his name. But wait, this is not the most frightening part of the story. Because when the police started investigating, they found something impossible. The first thing detectives do is try to identify the victim. Roland T. Owen from Los Angeles? There is no such person. There is no birth record. There are no documents. There is no one with that name that fits the description. Okay, fake name, things happen. We'll take fingerprints. And that's where the nightmare begins. There are no prints. Not fuzzy. Not damaged, no. The tips of all 10 fingers are treated with caustic acid. The papillary pattern has been completely destroyed, professionally. Long before the murder, the wounds had already healed. This man deliberately destroyed his identity. The police published the victim's photo in all major newspapers in the country. Do you know this person? The photo is seen by hundreds of thousands of people, all over America. Not a single identification, not a single call. This is my son. This is my brother. I worked with him. Nobody. It was as if this man had appeared out of nowhere. It was as if he had never existed before the day he entered the President Hotel. But the police did find something, and that only deepened the mystery. The following was found in room 1046. An empty chloroform bottle is under the bed. A towel soaked in the same chloroform is on the floor. The victim's clothes were neatly folded on a chair. Neatly folded. Shirt, trousers, socks, tie, and there was no sign of a struggle. Do you understand? Not a single overturned chair. No broken lamp. No scratches on the furniture. Someone entered the room. He put the victim to sleep with chloroform. Trapped her. He folded his clothes carefully. He tied me to the bed, and methodically, without haste, he beat and cut him for hours. And then he left. Through the door, past the bellhop, past dozens of witnesses, and no one saw him. The police questioned all the hotel staff. The maids described the man they saw in Owen's room. Tall, dark hair, domineering manner. He came and went, but no one saw how. Owen called him Doan. The phone operators confirmed that someone was answering the phone in the room when Owen was not there. Who was Doan? They didn't find him, never. No one matching the description has been identified. No witness saw him entering or exiting the hotel. It was as if he only existed inside room 1046. It was as if he appeared out of nowhere. But it's not over yet, because a few months after the murder, something happened that makes me doubt everything. The victim was buried in the municipal cemetery, an unmarked grave, no flowers, no relatives. The case was closed. Murder of an unknown person by an unknown criminal. 3 months later, a woman comes to the cemetery. She doesn't identify herself. She is wearing a black dress with a veil covering her face. She orders a reburial. The new coffin is expensive, made of polished oak. The new site is on a hill, in the shade of an old oak tree. The tombstone is marble. She pays in cash. With a lot of money, she asks me to carve it on the stone. To my beloved son from my mother. And no name. The cemetery caretaker tries to talk to her. He asks who is buried in this grave. He asks for her name. The woman looks at him, and he falls silent. He'll tell the police later. Her eyes ... I've seen a lot of mourners, but it wasn't grief. It was something else. Fault, fear, and something else cold. The woman leaves. The police are trying to find her, unsuccessfully. One detail, small, almost insignificant, bothered the investigators. A symbol was carved on the gravestone. It's small, in the corner. The caretaker thought it was an ornament. But one of the detectives recognized him. It was a sign of a secret society, very old, very private. A society associated with occult practices. I won't name it here, but if you know the history of the American secret orders of the 30s, you'll understand what I mean. Over the past 90 years, many versions have appeared. Version 1, organized crime. The Kansas City of the 30s is a mafia fiefdom. Perhaps Owen was an informant who was found and removed. Erased fingerprints, fake name, fear of speaking at all fits. But why would the mafia spend so much time on torture? And why wasn't the body hidden? Version 2, blackmail gone wrong. Owen knew something about the Doan. He tried to blackmail me, but I underestimated who I was messing with. Logically. But that doesn't explain the woman in the cemetery. And the symbol on the stone. Version 3, ritual murder. And that's where it gets really creepy. Some researchers noticed details that the police ignored. Owen waited a week for the killer, as if he knew what was going to happen. He didn't resist. He let himself be undressed, tied up, put to sleep. He refused to name the killer even before he died, as if he was protecting him. The symbol on the tombstone? What if Roland Owen didn't come to the President Hotel as a victim? What if he came as a sacrifice in a religious sense? What if his death was not a murder but a sacrifice? The President Hotel operated until 1978. Room 1046 was rented out as a regular room. The management did not see the point in closing it. Business is business. But there were rumors among the staff. It was said that it was colder in that room than in the others, even in summer. even when the heating is on. It was said that at night there were sounds coming from there, footsteps, creaking beds, muffled voices, but when the door opens, no one. It was said that some guests wake up in the middle of the night from the feeling that someone is standing in the corner of the room, by the window, in the dark, and he looks at them. We will never know who the person in room 1046 was. We'll never know who killed him. We'll never know what he took to his grave. But I think about him sometimes,